In this golf bag, I have with me some of the best game improvement irons of 2025. And by the end of this video, I'm going to hopefully give you a much better idea of which one of these irons might suit your game. So I've come to the beautiful and sunny Stoke Park Golf Club to take you through some categories such as looks, sound, feel and performance to try and help you avoid any mistakes when you're purchasing decisions this season. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the looks. Now, looks is always a very subjective topic. What I like the look of, you might hate, and vice versa. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you what the best looking iron is, because you might flat out agree, and I'll cop it in the comments for that. Instead, I'm going to highlight some very specific characteristics about how these individual models look, and you can make your own mind up, and that should help you make a better decision. So if you are someone who's prioritizing or looking for the most confidence-inspiring look you can, I've picked out a few models here that you might want to take a look at, starting with the Ping G730. Now, when you put this down at address, it's got quite a long heel to toe length, which is always good. We've got a healthy little bit of offset, and we've got an even healthier top line, which gives a little bit of confidence. You've got a bit of mass behind the ball. Second one I think you should probably take a look at is the Cleveland Halo XL full face. Now, we've got a big chunk of metal behind the ball here. It's almost more akin to a hybrid. There's not masses of offset, but again, there is a really healthy, thick top line to make you think you've got a bit of real estate in behind that golf ball. Next one is out left field a little bit, but it's the Tour Edge X725. It's very similar actually to the Cleveland I've just picked up in that it's almost a little bit hybrid-like. Once again, the top edge is very, very thick, and it's got a little bit more offset even than that Cleveland Halo XL. So if you're someone who misses the ball right, that might be something you want to see. Gives the face a little bit more time to square up. And finally, the PXG Black Ops. Now, this is probably the longest heel to toe length that I've seen, so you feel like you've got acres of space on that club face to hit if you're a heel or toe striker. Again, we've got a nice healthy top line. There's plenty of room to hit, so this is a really good choice if you're looking for maximum confidence. However, if you're someone who's shopping in this game improvement market and you want the help on offer and you want the technology, but maybe you want it wrapped up in a slightly more refined bow, then I've got a couple you might want to take a look at here. And the first one of those is the Srixon ZXi4. Now, this is a beautiful looking iron to me. There's still plenty of size to give you the confidence that you're going to hit a good shot, but it is slightly more compact than some of the others in the bag there. There's a touch less offset involved in this club, and the overall shaping to me just screams slightly towards that better player end of the market. It's a really classy looking golf club. Similar to that, I've got the Titleist T350. Again, there's enough size to give you the confidence, but it's beautifully shaped. Particularly the transition here from the hosel into the top line is really smooth and really well done. And again, gives me sort of reminders of that better player style of iron. It's a really clean, minimal look here. And the final one I want to talk to you about is the Callaway Elite iron. I've been a big fan of the looks of this from the get-go. The shelf appeal to me is excellent from the back. It looks really clean, really minimal. I love the high gloss finish. And again, the shaping is just a little bit more refined than some in the bag, which will remind some of you more of the better player irons you may have seen. And that's why you maybe want to take a look at these. Now onto the sound and feel, which are essentially the same thing. And I'm going to sit on the fence again here, because I'm not going to profess to tell you what you like. A lot of these clubs sound and feel very different. We get some that sound and feel quite firm, which some people absolutely love, that kind of industrial, robust kind of feel. Some of them feel a little bit softer, a little bit buttery, maybe a little bit marshmallowy, which some people, again, absolutely crave. There is a third feel that I notice in my testing in this category, which I just call springy or lively. You get a really sort of, lively kind of a feel, again, which some people absolutely love. So instead of telling you what you like the feel of, I'm just going to present the facts as they are, Your Honour, and we're going to start with some that feel a little bit firm. So if you are someone who's looking for that kind of firmer, more robust industrial feel, I would suggest trying some irons like the TaylorMade QI irons, perhaps the Wilson Dynapower, or even the Ping G440. In testing, I just find the ball coming off the face very quickly. It doesn't feel like it's on the face for that long. It gives that slightly clickier sound that some people absolutely love. Moving down the scale, if you're looking for something a little bit softer, again, I would suggest having a look at the Strixon ZXi4, perhaps the Mizuno JPX Hot Metal, or even the Tour Edge X725. Slightly different to the firmer ones. They just feel like they're on the face a little bit longer and give that slightly more mellow acoustic. Now, the springy ones are interesting because they feel the same as the soft ones. They do melt into the face like that, but they just feel like they're exploding off with a little bit more power. And if that's something that maybe appeals to you, I'd take a good look at the PXG Black Ops, but I'd also have a good look at the Cleveland Halo XL full face. So onto the all-important performance. Yes, sound and feel are important, looks are obviously important, but we all want to know how those clubs are going to perform. So I'm going to magically put up the data that I've collated from all my testing on screen now for you to take a look at. And now there is a lot of numbers and a lot of data up there, so feel free to pause the video, take a look, digest that, and pull out some parameters that maybe you're looking for in your irons now. Now, some of you might be looking at that data and saying, well, they don't really look like my numbers. What does this guy know about testing game improvement clubs? And yeah, I take that argument on board. I'm a PGA professional. These clubs aren't necessarily designed for me. But what I would say is I've got a relatively repeatable golf swing. So I feel like I get some fairly accurate data between these clubs and can really highlight the genuine difference between those models. That's my argument, and I'm absolutely sticking to it. But I just wanted to pull some data to have a little bit of a chat about from that chart. Starting with one of the characteristics which I think is really important in this area, which is the ease of launch or best stopping power. It's really important to still be able to hit the green with these clubs and keep them on it. We quite often get caught up in this loft jacking, trying to make the club go as furthest as possible in the launch monitor, and it's not always beneficial for our game. And the three I've picked out that I think do a really good job on that are the Ping G440, the PXG Black Ops, and the DS Adapt Max. All good high launch numbers, strong peak heights, which help you keep it on the green. Now, the second part I wanted to talk about is just raw distance, raw carry through the air. And as you can see from the data chart that you might have taken a look at, the PXG Black Ops was the longest for me. I got 196 yards of carry out of that 7-iron. The Ping G440 also did a really good job with a slightly higher launch and lower spin, albeit at 195 yards. And the TaylorMade QI is also a bit of a rocket launcher, wasn't far behind there. Now, there are some more unquantifiable bits I like to talk about because irons are so nuanced. And the first one of those I want to talk about is turf interaction. There's lots of different types. So if you're someone who's looking for that kind of better player turf interaction where you're going to get a pinchier, more neater strike, then the Strixon ZXi4 is one well worth a look at. The Tour V sole on that is the envy of all manufacturers. It runs throughout their range and carries on to that ZXi4 and helps promote really good ground interaction. Similarly, the Callaway Elite, they've done a really good job with shaving off the back edge and a little bit of leading edge relief as well to help that entrance and exit into the turf. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, which we sometimes leave out of these iron reviews, and I think it's really important to include, is the short iron performance. Quite often we just talk about that 7-iron data and hope that translates. But I've made sure I've tested the full set of all of these. And my two standouts in the short iron area, which we know are our scoring clubs, so they're so important, would be the Mizuno JPX 925 Hot Metal and the Callaway Elite. The shaping of the short irons is just absolutely spot on. The soles aren't too thick, so you get a bit of versatility there. And they just provide that little bit more refinement in the shorter irons than maybe some of the others in the bag. However, if you are someone who wants the reassurance of a slightly wider sole to give you a bit of bounce and help on those fat shots, the Tour Edge X725 does an exceptional job of that, as does the Cleveland Halo XL full face. Both really wide soles and are really forgiving in terms of their turf interaction. In the current economic climate, we all want to make sure we're getting value for money, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop all the recommended retail prices of everything in this bag up there on the screen for you to take a look at, and you can decide from what you've seen whether you think that represents good value for money. However, I do want to pick one out that I personally love in this category, and that is the Tour Edge X725. Now, this comes in at £706 or $899 for a 7-club set. And everything I've seen about this club, from the build quality, the looks to the performance, for me, that represents outstanding value for money. So there you have it. I hope that's given you a much better idea of what's available in the game improvement iron market in 2025 for you. Now, I don't necessarily think it's possible or even responsible to name a best overall iron, because we all need so many different things, right? And these irons all offer so many different things. However, if you were to twist my arm and make me get off the fence, there was one iron that I saw consistently high up across the board through all the parameters that we tested, and that was the PXG Black Ops iron. I think it's well worth a try if you're in the game improvement iron market this season. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.